Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope you're having a wonderful February 1st. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I get to share with you 10 cards. We're using the Spellbinders card kit of the month for February 2022. This is created from the dies in this month's kit. I created this little piece during the unboxing, and if you guys missed it, I'll leave the unboxing at the end. But it's a really pretty die, and we're going to put it to good use on our very first card. I have some pink cardstock. The panel size is 3 3/4 inches by 5. We're matting that on some gold cardstock, and that measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. We're just going to layer them together and then put this on our card base. The card base that all of the card bases I'm using today are in the kit. For the most part, I like to use everything that's in the kit for my 10 cards. I'm using my glue, and we're layering one of the little floral swags to the left, one to the right, and I kind of have it off center. We're going to fix that. And I actually added some Nuvo drops to the flower centers. There's little pink flowers on there. It's kind of hard to tell, but I added some Ivory Seashell Nuvo drops, and it really does look like little pearls. And I think I love the daintiness of this. We're going to add a little bit more color with the butterfly from our die cut pack. Just put the foam adhesive in the middle so I can fluff up the wings. And then the sentiment is actually from our dies in the club kit this month too. I chose You Are Perfect, and we're going to put that on the inside of our little floral wreath. And that is our first project using the card kit of the month. It's called Remember Always, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I'll list it in the description area, the name of the card kit. But for my next card, we are keeping it florally and pretty simple. I have a strip of the pattern paper that measures 2 1/2 inches tall and then 4 1/4 inches wide. We're adding some of the pop-up foam adhesive behind it to give this a little bit of dimension, and then we'll layer this on the bottom of our card base. I have a little bit overhanging, so we'll just trim this off. And then you can see I have 3 of our florals, which are gorgeous, in our die cut pack this month. We're going to layer all of these, kind of creating like a fence with florals above the fence. That's what my thoughts are on this one. I do want the florals to be the same height as the fence, let's call it. And so I'm just adding foam adhesive to the top of our die cut piece, and then I'll add my tape runner on the bottom, and then we can layer it all together. Now the kit does come with double-sided foam tape, guys, or double-sided adhesive tape. You could very well use that. For my videos I just use my tape runner because it's a little bit quicker. It also has foam squares in the kit. In case you guys are new and didn't know, the Spellbinders card kit basically comes with everything. For my sentiment, I chose Thinking of You. We did add some foam adhesive behind there, and then we get to use some of these beautiful sequins. I love the neutral tone of this, and I love the faceted look, how it picks up a whole bunch of different colors. We're going to add some sequins below our sentiment and just above in that white area to add a little bit of sparkle. And I'm just using my glue to adhere these. Sequins like this are my favorite because it goes with everything, and you know I like to add lots of bells and whistles, and so I was excited about these. Now of course you can trim off the florals on the left and the right to fit in your envelope. I didn't do that during my video, but you probably want to do that for the envelope. Now we're going to move along to card number 3. I have a panel that measures card front size, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. It has that gold scripty font on it. We're going to completely cover our card base with it. This panel size measures 3 inches by 4 inches, and we're going to add this to the center of our card base. And then I have some gold mirror cardstock. I trimmed it down so it will fit behind one of our chipboard frames. We get 12 chipboard frames. And I love that they're adhesive backed, so all you have to do is remove the release paper, and I'm going to put some of this gold mirror cardstock behind it. This month we have 2 sheets of chipboard stickers, and I took some of there's 3 tickets in it. One of the tickets says cherished, one says grateful, the other one says miss you. I thought we would add all 3 of these to the center of our photo frame. I am going to add a little more dimension by popping up our photo frame with some of that pop-up foam adhesive. I hope you guys have had a chance to try it. It's very inexpensive, and I'll link it down below. But it works nice for thinner pattern paper. It kind of gives it a little bit stability. But I'm going to go ahead and grab some small foam squares. I'm going to trim down some pieces that will fit behind our chipboard tickets here. And there's gold detail on some of these tickets too. We are going to evenly space them and put them on the inside of our photo frame. It's kind of a clean and simple card, but I love the way that bold black frame looks with it. That's card number 3. Next, we're going to create a Sunshiny Clear Up Clouds Day card. I have some stripe paper. This is left over from our earlier card. The width of this is 3.5 inches. And then I'm adhering some thin strips of the cloudy pattern paper, and we're basically leaving about 1/4 inch on the left and right of our stripe paper. We're going to adhere this directly down the center of our card base. So we have a little bit of white showing on the left and the right. I'm going to use my scissors and trim off the overhanging pattern paper. And for this card, we're going to use a few of our die cut pieces. I have the grayish colored clouds. We have 2 of each die cut, so I have both of those clouds. And then we have the rainbow that has a sentiment on the very top. It says hope, light, faith, kindness, hugs, and strength. I think that's so pretty. We're going to layer the clouds on the top and bottom of that rainbow, and then I'm going to flip it over and we're going to add some foam tape behind it and put that in the upper portion of our card base. Now also in our die cut pack there's a few rainbows. I chose the rainbow that has the bridge on it. I wanted a little bit of gold in this card. So this layers perfectly over our larger rainbow. We're going to pop that up with some foam adhesive. And then I have some of these chipboard hearts. We're going to add those as well. For this, we're going to stamp the sentiment that says the clouds will clear and the sun will shine. I just stamped it with black ink and it stamps beautifully. And then we're going to add our 3 little hearts. We'll go top left, and then we're going to go middle right, and then bottom left. And then finishing touches, we're going to go over those hearts, the entire circle, with some of our glazing glue. And glazing glue is like a glossy accents. It dries like an enamel clear. And then I'm going to actually add some arches to the rainbow to add a little bit of shine there. And that is card number 4. Kind of a nice little cheer up card. For my next card, it's probably my favorite one. I trimmed down 3 different sizes of some gold mirror cardstock. I'm going to add adhesive behind the largest. This is a 3/4 inch strip. And then I have some pattern paper that I trimmed down. It has birds on it. It's really pretty. And I'm using that as a guide for my first strip. Again, this is 3/4 inches, and I have it about 1¼ inches up from the bottom of my card base. We're basically going to layer all 3 of these in a row. So we have 3/4 inches, 1/2 inch, and then a 1/4 inch strip of the gold mirror cardstock. Let's trim off the excess. And then my bird pattern paper, it measures 3¼ inches wide by 4½ inches tall. This is where your pop-up foam comes in really handy, because the paper is on the thinner side. When you add the foam, it just gives a nice stability to your cards. So I added some foam behind it to give it a little dimension, and then we'll place our pattern paper in the center of our card base. For this card, we're going to use another one of those frames. I just trimmed down some white cardstock that would fit behind it, and that's where we're going to stamp our sentiment. I chose I Miss Your Smile. I think it will fit perfectly in there, and I'm just using my VersaFine Onyx Black ink for this. I'm going to use my tool-in-one, and we're going to remove that release paper off of our photo frame, and we'll add that frame over our sentiment. And I am going to add a little dimension with this too. I thought maybe I would get it crooked, but I might have to trim off a little bit of the overhanging. So I'm going to use my scissors. I have a little overhanging on the right. Let's trim that off. For this, we'll take some fun foam. I call it fun foam, but it's called pop-up foam sheets. I just trimmed down a small square to fit behind our sentiment. And then I'm going to use my tape runner, add some tape behind my photo frame, add my fun foam, and then I'll add some tape on my panel. Actually, I take that back. Let's use our glazing glue. This is, I don't think I've ever used glazing glue as glue. So I'm going to give it a try and see what it does. It's nice and handy to have on hand rather than having your glaze and then grabbing your glue. So let's give that a try. But we added our sentiment. Now I have 2 of the gold leaves. We did a little tucking with that, and then we're going to finish it off with that pretty die cut bird, and that's kind of overhanging on the frame. I'm going to add some of our pretty sequins, and then this finishes off card number 5. I think this is my favorite. I just love the gold and the bird. I don't know what, I just think it turned out great. Next, for card number 6, we're going to do a little layering. So this panel measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. We're going to make a landscape style card. So we're going to adhere this. And then I have a slightly smaller panel using, it's a gray colored, like a brush stroked almost pattern paper. That measures 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. We're going to layer those 2 together. Next, I have a strip of the leftover piece from that bird pattern paper. It is a 1 1/2 inch strip. Actually, I take that back, 1 1/4 inch strip. We're going to adhere that to a 1 1/2 strip of 1 1/2 inch strip of the white cardstock. We're just going to do lots of layers on this card, kind of creating a belt for the middle of our card. We're going to stamp our sentiment in one of those frames again. This time I chose the oval frame with the gold detail on it. I did trim down it's not a very pretty oval that I trimmed down, but I think it's going to work to go behind our chipboard frame here. We're going to stamp Sending Loving Thoughts, and then we'll remove the release paper off of our oval and add that right over the top. And then I have 2 of the gray toned butterflies. And that sentiment fit perfect in there, and I was happy about that. I'm going to flip this over. We're going to add foam adhesive behind it, and then this is going to go slightly to the left of our panel. I'm going to add some foam behind our butterflies, just in the center, so we can fluff those wings up. And then I do have the gray circle chipboard heart. We're going to add that in between the butterflies here too. We're going to finish off our card with some more of those pretty sequins. And then that is card number 6. This could be a nice sympathy card too, I think. Sometimes the soft tones and simple tones are nice for everyday cards or sympathy cards. But we'll add a few sequins. And I'm using the glazing glue to adhere the sequins, and it worked great. Actually, I like it. Okay. Sending Loving Thoughts. That finishes card number 6. We're going to move along to our next card, and our next card, I have a pattern paper. This is purple, and we're going to adhere this about 1 inch or about 1/4 inch from the right of our card base. This measures 2 1/2 inches wide, and then we'll trim off the excess so it's the full length of our card base. Now I have some more of those gold leaves that I think are so pretty. My first gold leaf I'm going to tuck underneath that purple. And then I have a leftover strip of that gold scripty print. I'm going to add adhesive behind it, take another one of these gold leaves, and we're going to layer that behind the gold. I love how it's kind of tucked behind each layer. Kind of gives a little bit of illusion of dimension. This is a 1 3/4 inch strip. So we're going to put that in the middle of our purple strip. And then we have 2 of these gold leaves left over. These we're going to pop up with some foam adhesive. Now this will have the end of the stem that we're going to cover with our sentiment. So I think this is a good spot for that. And then our last one will pop up with foam adhesive, but I'm going to tuck that stem underneath that gold leaf so you can't see it. For my sentiment, I'm using the chipboard sticker that says Sending My Love. I'm going to add some foam adhesive behind it, and then we'll put this again over that stem of the gold leaf, and then we'll finish it off with some sparkle, and that is card number 7. And I'm loving the way the glaze and glue works with the sequins, and when it dries, guys, you can't even see it, so that makes it really nice. I love how elegant this card turned out. I love that gold with the purple. Now for my next card, we have 2 squares that I created, actually rectangles that I created with the yellow butterfly pattern paper. These are going to go in the corners, the top left and the bottom right. And then I have 2 of the floral prints in the same size, and these are going to go in the top right and bottom left, kind of creating a plus or a window pane look. And then I have a couple pieces of our leaves in our flower from our die cut pack. We just have 1 flower. We're going to adhere this to the center, covering up that window pane area, and then we have our green leaves that we're going to do a little bit of tucking. I added foam adhesive behind all of these so we have some dimension. For this card, we're going to use our sentiment stamp set, which I'm loving. I love the tight print along with the scripty print. I always love that in sentiments. So this is one of those sentiments stamp sets that you can use over and over. But I'm just using Let's Catch Up Soon. I'm going to stamp with my black ink, and I'm going to put it in the yellow butterfly pattern paper. So I'm going to scoot over my leaf a little bit, and we'll stamp this. It stamps beautifully, and then we will finish this off with some more of our sequins, and that finishes off card number 8 for today. For card number 9, we're going to create a kind of a get well card. I have some pattern paper using the raindrop printed paper. This measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. That's going to go directly on our card base. And then this is the cloudy pattern paper. It measures 4 inches by 4 inches. I'm going to add a thin gold strip on the very bottom, and then this is going to go layered over our raindrop paper. If you wanted to just trim a smaller strip of the rainbow or the raindrops, you don't have to use that much pattern paper. I've kind of wasted some behind that cloudy print. But next we're going to use the clouds that have the raindrops coming down. There's 2 of them. I'm going to layer them both together, and then I did pop it up with some foam adhesive, and then we're going to stamp the sentiment that says I'm here for you. This one would actually go really good with the sentiment that says in the stamp set that says the clouds will clear and the sun will shine. So either sentiment would look just as nice. But I am going to highlight those gray clouds a little bit, give them a little bit of color with my white gel pen. And I'm not going to add any sequins. If you want to add some of your glaze and glue over the raindrops, I think that would be nice. But that is card number 9. Now we're going to shake it up for card number 10, and we are going to create a shaker card. I have some pattern paper that is the leaf patterns, and it measures 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. I layered that on my card base. I'm going to remove the release paper off of our gray rectangle chipboard frame, and we're going to add a piece of acetate behind it. Creating shakers with these frames are so easy. Next, I'll add some foam tape behind our photo frame. Now I don't want this to shake too much, so I'm just adding 1 layer of foam adhesive. And now we're going to add some of our pretty sequins. And then I did trim down a piece of white cardstock to fit behind my photo frame. And we're going to basically just sandwich those sequins in between the acetate and then that cardstock. And again, this is not going to shake too much. If you wanted it to shake, you would double up on the foam adhesive. But I love the white with the sequins. It just creates a soft look. I'm going to adhere my frame in the middle of my card base, and then I have the little floral arrangement in the die cut pack. I popped that up in the bottom corner of my photo frame, and then for my sentiment we're going to use one of our chipboard stickers. This one says hang in there, and it's a little tag, so I did thread some white twine through there we're going to add some foam adhesive a little bit to the right, and then we can tack this down as if it's coming off of our little vase here. Once that's adhered, I'm going to go ahead and tie a bow with that white twine. I'm going to leave the tails a little bit long after we trim these off. And I'm going to bring in the sequins. I'm going to add a few and just bring a little sparkle outside. Let's see. And actually I changed my mind. I think I didn't like that. So we're just going to keep the sparkle inside the shaker and just keep it kind of clean and simple. That's my little hang in there shaker card. So that is my final card. Let's go over all of the 10 cards that I made today with the Spellbinders card kit of the month for February 2022. It's called Always Remember. Oh, and that second card I didn't mention, but I did round that top corner, that top right corner. I don't know if you could tell, you could see that or not, but I always love the Spellbinders kits because everything that's in it. You get the dies, the stamp set, the paper pad, a full-size paper pad, cardstock, which I didn't use any cardstock today, but the white and then the gold mirror. But I just love creating with the Spellbinders card kit because there is so much that you can do with it. There's die cut pieces and embellishments. But thanks for joining me. Have a lovely day, guys. We will see you again real soon. Bye-bye.